Hello, welcome back to the Root Podcast. I'm Toni, and here on To the Root, we talk about spirituality, self love, healing, and beauty. And today, our topic is spiritual awakening. What is it? Are you in it? Have you experienced it? Let's talk about it. I hear that term so often, and probably if you are interested in anything with conscious community, you've heard people talk about them having a spiritual awakening. And what is that to me? Well, to me, it was having a more expansive understanding, I guess, of consciousness of who God is to me, my connection with everything, and realizing I'm so much more than just a human having an experience here. I think it's different for everyone. I'm no expert on this, just giving you my opinion on where I have journeyed in my life. And I can say probably, 2012, my husband died, and that was one of the things that made me start taking, kind of stock in life. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? But it was also something that as I progressed, I would say, 2012 was sort of the beginning, but I would probably say things really peaked for me around like 2017, when I really realized, I didn't believe a lot of the things that I came up to believe in my life. And by that time, I had already started reading different literature, learning more about meditation, more about energy healing, and had left the church and was no longer, believing in the need for Christianity. As a kid, came up in the Baptist church when I was really young. And also, too, let me just preface, this is no bashing against faith or religion. Wherever you are is wherever you are. And I think wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. So, I came up in the Baptist church. Then my mom moved us to the Pentecostal church. And then I left the church for a long time in my life, and then went back to the church probably in my late 30s, and then ended up leaving the church around 2016. And it didn't really have anything to do with the church per se. It was all really about me and my growth and the changes in my thought process and what I felt that I needed and what I felt that I didn't need any longer. So to me, I think when you have a spiritual awakening, you begin to see everything in life very differently. It's kind of like, the veil is sort of lifted off of your eyes, and you begin to see, to me, God and everything in a very expansive way. And, I'm thankful for the people that I met and the experiences that I had. I just got to a place where I felt it wasn't anything that I really needed anymore. Also, I would say, in 2012, when my husband was dying, I would say I really had some very supernatural experiences during that time. That was also another thing that made me start looking at, things differently in the world. And it made me also get very real and different in what I was praying and what I was talking to the universe about. And that's one thing that you would notice when you are going through a spiritual awakening. A lot of things are going to seem a little crazy to yourself, maybe to people that know you. And that's where your intuition really comes in. When I decided to leave my job, it felt a little crazy to me, and I know it seemed a little crazy to others. The only way I could really describe how things come to me sometimes is I just keep getting this nagging, repeated information that I'm getting. Inside, also from sometimes people that I encounter, all of a sudden, here comes a book on this same thing, and I just keep hearing the repetitive things over and over until I finally decide to, oh my gosh, I keep hearing about this, and then I venture down that road. And that's kind of how I felt when I left my job. I just kept having this nagging feeling inside, kind of in my belly, that it's time to leave this job. It's time to leave this job. It's time to leave this job. I want to leave this job. It's just, I kept feeling it every day, every day, every day, every day. And I know some of you might hate your job and say, I feel like that every day. But, and even though I wasn't necessarily head over heels in love with my job, I was grateful, for the job, for sure. And I thought I was going to be at that job for a very, very long time. I was there for 17 and a half years. I thought I would have definitely done over 20 years. And then I just realized that life can be so fleeting. Still, in the big scheme of things, life is very short. And I do think when you get older, you kind of start taking stock in what are the things that you've accomplished in your life, and what are the things that you want to do. My husband was 56 years old. He didn't even live to retirement or to do so many of the things that he had always dreamt of doing. And, for me, it was about just stopping the hustle and bustle every day, fighting traffic, being frustrated, waking up not happy, and just not doing the things that I really wanted to do, even if those things just meant doing nothing. There's great gifts in actually being able to slow your life down and being able to rest. And this society just absolutely doesn't make space for that. And it's all about the getting up and the rushing and the going. And, it makes me sad when I look back sometime and think of so many things that I missed out on with my kids. For always having to be in this rat race of doing things that you feel you have to do, that you should do. And it's not the things really that you want to do. That's one of the biggest things I've learned about myself, is I'm a very slow-paced person. And you know what? I am okay with that. I don't have to do everything how everybody else does it, and you don't either. I don't think that necessarily means that you have to leave a job, you have to give up your faith or whatever. How can you merge those things together? I don't think the universe ever comes in, like a bowling ball and knocks you down like some pins and makes you do anything. You have full free will of what you want to do here on this planet. But I do think it gives us many taps on the shoulder and lots of subtle nudges in what our gifts, our talents, and our abilities are, and how we can be using those for the planet and the people. For me, I did not come up with very loving family. So for me to be the loving person that I am and the affectionate person that I am, I didn't even know that those things were inside of me. But those are the gifts that I have, that I absolutely love giving to people because I don't have to work at it. So that's kind of how you know what some of your gifts are. And I would never have known those things if I didn't fully start changing my perspective of how I was looking at life. I feel like when you go into a spiritual awakening too, sometimes it makes you think that you even lost your mind because you start having all these different ideas. And I used to think that when you get to a certain age that you stop dreaming, that you kind of lose your creativity. And then I realized, no, it's because, we just stopped exercising those things. We stopped dreaming big. And we think that we get so limited with the things that we can do. But I feel like once I kind of started awakening, I realized it doesn't matter what your age is. What matters is, what are you doing with the time that you have right now? How are you sharing your gifts of love and creativity or healing or music or dance or laughter with the world? Because that's what you're here for, to share your gifts with the planet and the people to make it a better place. So When those things began happening to me, I started just really asking the universe questions. What's really out there? Who's really out there? And I went down so many paths. I've studied in energy healing. I have sound bowls that I play. I love anything that's going to quiet the mind, because that's another thing. As we stay so busy, sometimes we wouldn't know if we were in a spiritual awakening or not, because we don't have time. We don't make the time or take the time to listen to ourselves, to listen to our body, to listen to our thoughts, but to really tap into the heart. What are the things that you really love? And how could you use those things to help others and to help yourself, to love yourself? Self-love expression is the absolute best thing you can ever do for yourself. That'll make you the best person that you are, and that's how you help other people. Also, it changed a lot of the literature that I started reading. And then I became really obsessive about people that had NDEs, near-death experiences. It always amazed me, the different cultures, ages, races, gender, people that had near-death experiences, and their experiences were so similar, a lot of the stories that they were telling. And it really just amazed me. And it also made me realize, just being in this body is just a limited experience. But you are an all-powerful soul that's connected to source energy and everything. So I began to become extremely more aware of nature, because so many people that come back from NDEs find so many amazing gifts. A lot of them are with animals, and so through watching that and knowing the experience that I was having, it made me become so much aware. I fell in love with nature, fell in love with animals, fell in love with love. Just really wanting to see the best for people, wanting to see people heal themselves from who they think they are, and hopefully being able to help them see who they really are. I feel like in 2020, when everything shut down, it gave people time to reflect. I feel like, I live here in Vegas, and I feel like so many people were spending more time at the park. And, anytime that you're going to start dealing with nature, nature is going to start healing you. And I think that's just the best thing ever. Not that was, I'm not, ignoring the tragedies of things that happen. But I am a very strong believer in, if you look for the good in the tragedy, in the sadness, something good can always come out of it. To me, I feel like that's when a lot of people began really getting into entrepreneurship. It started really booming, because people started realizing their side hustles could become their main hustles. And, then I think as the human race, we tend to we get something and then we do a little too much, and then we have to sort of swing the pendulum the other way, and then things kind of center themselves. So I felt like it was a lot of entrepreneurship going on. Then it was a lot of burnout going on. And then I think people going back to the workforce. And then now I feel like we're settling somewhere in between, with really kind of finding the things that we love, and how can we balance that maybe with another career or something like that. Because in having, a spiritual awakening doesn't mean that you need to run out and quit everything that you know. If I had to go back and do it again, would I have done it that way? Yeah, just because that's my personality. I'm a scaredy cat type person in general. And so I think a lot of times when something just finally, hits me, then I will just act abruptly. But that's sort of what works for me, because if I If I sit and just think about something for too long, I will tend to get afraid and then not really move. So also just remember, nobody that you're watching, me, the person that has the highest numbers on YouTube or whatever, nobody has it all figured out. If it's one thing I know, is that we don't know everything. Everybody is having their own experience, their own journey. You spend time with who and what resonates with you, and then you find your own way. That is one of the biggest things that I feel we make mistakes when we look at people online, or we look at people on the internet somewhere, and we just think that they have this huge following and they have everything all together. They don't. Nobody does. Everybody is finding their way. But I can tell you right now, use people as a form of encouragement, but also know that inside of you, you have all of the answers. You have all of the gifts. You have every single thing that you need. You don't have to look outside of yourself. You are a part of the consciousness of creation. So everything out there is in here. And if you start to just ask yourself, what are the things that I wake up that I love doing the most? This is the thing that I love the most. I love encouraging people. I love loving people, because it's very easy for me, which is a miracle in itself, because I did not have a loving, affectionate background. I came actually from just the opposite. So I've always, once I came to the realization that, wow, how am I able to do this? And this is not really, what I came from. That's when you start to look and realize your gifts and the things that you're able to give people. I'm a great listener, and I always want to see people win. I want to see people healed so that you can live a better life. So that's why I share these things. So sometimes it doesn't matter how crazy it might seem in thought. Just kind of ask yourself, where did those things come from? Whatever you're creating in your life or desire to create in your life, think about some of the smallest things that make the biggest impact in this world every day. Very simple things. A simple light switch. You have it in every building. You have it in every room. Isn't that a convenient thing that somebody came up with that? But maybe whoever came up with that, maybe somebody might have told them it was a crazy idea. But look, now we're using it. Okay? Something as simple as Velcro. How convenient has it made our lives through the years? And then somebody has an idea, and then somebody continues to expound on the idea, right? And it gets better and better. So don't diminish the thoughts and the intuition that you have, because you are a spiritual being. You're just having fun in this body, experiencing things here on this planet. But you have gifts beyond measure, and your gifts someone needs. I don't care how many people are doing whatever it is that your thought may be. Please, please don't diminish your own thought. You're going to reach your own people. It doesn't matter how many other people are out there. They are not you. Your gifts and your talent and your love is needed in the world. And, I don't care how minute you think the idea is. Write it down and put some energy into that. And just begin to ask the universe, how could I use this for a better planet and to help the people here? And you will be surprised the ideas and things that will come to you. So if you feel like you just are losing it because of the different ways that you're thinking, I did too. I thought I had all the answers in my life. I thought I knew how everything was going to go. And then I always say my husband's death was the worst, best thing that ever happened to me, because it was the thing that through loss made me start appreciating every single thing that I have, especially my life. And then I wanted to know, what could I do with it? How could I use it to better people so that it's lasting when I'm no longer here? So if you're having a spiritual awakening, you're not crazy, maybe you might need to surround yourself with some different people that maybe have some of the same thought process and can help you through it. It's also something that tends to bring about a lot of healing in hurt areas of our lives. Whatever it is, embrace it. The good, the bad. I've gone down a lot of avenues since 2017, gone back to beauty school. I've been out on my own. I've worked for people. I've gone back to doing part-time jobs. It's not an easy road. It's not like, oh my gosh, I've had this great spiritual awakening. Okay, gosh, I know this is what I want to do. And then boom, everything just materializes. Typically, it doesn't happen like that. Maybe for some people it does, but it hasn't been like that for me. I'm 59 years old and I'm still on the journey. I'm still figuring out who I am. I'm still healing from things in my childhood. I'm still dealing with wounds with my parents. And I'm still figuring out my way here. But sitting here in front of you is just a very small part of what I want to give back to the world, and that's encouragement. So what are the things that you do just so naturally that help others, that make you feel so good when you get up, that you look forward to do all the time? Doesn't mean that you have to jump up and quit your job or anything like that, but it does mean that you can bring some betterment to your own heart, and out of that, you help and heal others. So that's just a small part of what I feel my spiritual awakening has looked like. Taken me down lots of roads, but I've met a lot of amazing people. I definitely know I have a calmer, peaceful life, and I do wake up looking to do the things every day that I love. That's spending time with my adult kids, spending time with my grandson, spending time with my granddog, who I take care of here, and taking care of my clients, not rushing. I know that's one thing I learned about myself, is I'm a slower paced person. I do much better when I am not ripping and running and feeling so much pressure of having to be here, having to be there. I do much better in a calm environment. So it's really, to me, a spiritual awakening is not only making me more aware of the consciousness of the world and the expansiveness of God, but also helping me learn myself, heal the parts of myself that need to be healing, let things go, be more forgiving, patient, kind, encouraging, and loving. So I hope this helps you just a little bit to know that when you hear that term, a little bit about what it is. Again, I'm not some person that has it all figured out. I'm still in the throes of everything myself, and I think it just goes on and on, until the spirit leaves the body. But just know that inside of you have every single thing that you need. Every single thing that you need. You don't have to look outside of yourself for anything. You don't have to look out for validation. You don't have to look to others for your own answers. I'm telling you, I don't care how difficult it seems. Start with what you have when your mind begins to start having this expansive awareness. You can start with a little mic right here in your kitchen. You don't have to go out and try to do anything like anyone else. You do what works for you, and you will reach the people that you're supposed to reach. So I'm sending you, as always, so much love and encouragement, and I'm going to see you on the next episode of To the Root.